Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Look at us. Look at what they make you give.
Welcome back to this week's Monday movie show DVD and Blu-ray section. Coming up in this section we will have the DVD and Blu-ray top 10 and reviews of...
Did you nearly forget the name of the show there? It sounded like you nearly forgot the name. You stuttered on it a little bit.
I was focusing on it because I'm reading something on my screen at the same time and I didn't want to read out what I was reading because that would have really been unprofessional.
Lovely. I want to know now what you were reading. Right,
I was just a Spreaker site. But
okay, I thought it was something else. We're reviewing Marley, Battleship, 7 Below, Lockout, The Monk, 388 Arletta Avenue, and Andy's DVD alternative this week is Pump Up the Volume.
Yeah, before that though, as I said, we'll go straight into the DVD and Blu-ray top 10.
And at number 10 is Dark Knight / Batman Begins.
Yeah, amazingly, some people still don't have both of these films.
Me.
Is there anything we need to say more about this? I mean, it's in there because of The Dark Knight Rises. It's been dropping steadily. It's been in there the last 3 weeks, so it's going to be out there next week, I expect. What else is there to say?
I haven't a clue. Number 9, We Bought a Zoo.
Cameron Crowe's latest sort of smoogie, yeah. That's the effect this film has on my tongue. It makes it talk like things like that. It's just a very sort of soft, schmaltzy movie about a guy who buys a zoo, moves in with his 2 kids, and decides to try and work it up to try and go through a sort of a self-healing sort of thing with it. It's a perfectly fine movie. It's just a bit long and it's very Cameron Crowe-y.
Yeah, the best way I can describe the movie is it's like being licked by kittens.
Yeah, that's not particularly... No. Yeah,
no, it's just... it's, I like being licked by kittens.
No.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. At number 8, ironically, Puss in Boots.
Yeah, you sure that wasn't like an attempt at a setup there?
No, it wasn't, because I just looked it down and I went, really?
Puss in Boots... The thing about Puss in Boots is that it's a spin-off from the Shrek series with Antonio Banderas doing his excellent voice as Puss in Boots. It's the thing is with it, we've both seen it, and yet I cannot remember much from it apart from it's a story about him trying to get up Jack the Beanstalk to get the golden goose. I remember that it's well animated. I actually have it in my pile of a whole bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays that I haven't watched yet since I got them. And I have it because it's the 3D one, and I haven't watched it at home yet on the 3D. I keep meaning to. But from what I remember, it's a good film. It's just not memorable.
What I find funny was the fact that they decided to do a spin-off for Puss in Boots after the 4th Shrek movie. What a time to choose to do one.
I think it's because they've decided, we can't do a 5th Shrek film, we need to do something else. Oh, we can do a spin-off.
Yeah, because the final Shrek film wasn't very good at all. Number 7, Best Exotic Marigold Hotel.
The British drama, which is a group of old age pensioners who go over to India on a self-discovery thing where they find the place they've gone to is a hotel that's not quite up to the standards that it's been advertised as. Judi Dench you have in the cast is brilliant, magnificent in the cast. You have Maggie Smith is in there. It's a really good drama. I keep saying this, but it's the only thing I can really think of to really put home how decent the film this is. It is a good drama you can watch with any relative. You can watch it with your parents, you can watch it with your grandparents, and they'll probably enjoy it as much as you will.
Yeah, number 6, Warhorse.
Which is still hanging around like a really bad smell, only it's not a bad smell, it's just everyone speaks English and it's a film about a horse. I mean, do we need any more than that?
Everybody who speaks English is foreign as well.
Oh yeah.
You need to mention the fact that they're French and German and Italian, but they can speak perfect English even though you're 8-year-old and you've probably never met an English person in your life.
It's not a bad film. I mean, we're probably
it's a good
underselling it. We're making it out to be a bit rougher than it is, but it's a good film. It's just it's Steven Spielberg mixing his two genres that he does best: the innocence of the world seen through the eyes of a child, or in this case, seen through the eyes of a horse, and the grueling truth of war.
Yep. Number 5, a re-entry for Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
I know exactly why this is re-entered. It's because it's on a special offer. In a lot of places you can get the Blu-ray fairly cheaply. I know this because I did that this week too. Possibly under £8 for a Blu-ray.
I know I've seen the DVD for £5 in Asda.
So that's probably a part of it as well. As far as I'm concerned, the best of the 4 Mission Impossible films, being that it's not just an Ethan Hunt and the expendable people, it's a team movie, and it's a team having to do what they do best under extreme pressure when the IMF is disbanded. I thought it was, as I said, a really good film, and surprisingly that it's the first live-action film for the director. I think it's Brad Bird, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. Who really, for me, shows in this film that he has a really good eye for telling a story visually.
Yeah, that's if you haven't actually seen the big set pieces in it, because if you have, then the film's ruined for you. Number 4, Mirror Mirror. The
film that we have disputing views over, let's say that. I really liked it. It's possibly the weaker of the 2 Snow White movies that have been this year, but for me, the one that I enjoyed more and found quite funny at parts. It's the story of Snow White, but it's given an unusual twist by director Tarsem Singh, who also, as far as I'm concerned, is his best film. That's not saying much. Tarsem Singh isn't a great director, but this is his best one so far.
I just want to know, what is your idea of an unusual twist by him? Because what do you think is different in this than has been seen in another Snow White film?
The whole thing of it being a love story between a love triangle between Snow White, the Prince Charming, and the Queen. That's new.
But that's still not a big enough twist for the film. It's rubbish. I've not seen Snow White and the Huntsman, so it'll be interesting when I see that, to put them both together to see which one I hate.
Yeah, I'm curious to see that as well, to see what you compare the two.
Right, number 3, a new entry for So You Want to Be a Pirate.
Yeah, we've just found out about this before the show. It turns out that it is one of these spin-off 20-25 minute long animations from Pirates and Adventures with Scientists. So it's one of these ones you get in, I think it's Tesco's, we found, is the one that seems to have it. And it's just one of these separate one-off ones where it seems the pirate is, the captain is training people on how to be a pirate. So I'm surprised it's not been re-released. They'll be probably bringing it out when it's How to Talk Like a Pirate Day, or whatever it is.
Yeah, or it'll go back up in the charts once Pirates and Adventures with Scientists comes out over here on DVD and Blu-ray.
Oh dear, probably.
I know. And number 2, The Expendables.
Which, for obvious reasons, has gone back in because The Expendables 2 is out in the cinema. I don't know which version it is, because I know that there has been 2 versions of this release now. There's been a longer edited director's cut of some sort. But the film, if you're curious about The Expendables 2, big dumb action film, then check out Expendables. You might as well. It's probably easy to rent it if you're not sure about buying it, but I think it's quite cheap. I think it's been around about the £5-6 mark for the Blu-ray. So if you've got that to spend and you're curious, why not?
Spend it on something else instead. And at number 1, a new entry for the Headhunters.
Yeah, I forgot where it is. It's Norwegian.
Yeah, it's Norwegian.
Norwegian drama, which is unusual to have a Norwegian film going at number 1. I'm really glad it has. It shows that people are paying attention to these sorts of films, because it's a fantastic thriller whereby a guy who's involved in headhunting for jobs, for positions high up in companies, finds himself that he may have been targeted for some reason. A really well-directed drama, a really well-directed thriller, some twists that I honestly did not see coming. It was thoroughly enjoyable as a film, and I'm glad that people are going for it because it is a subtitled film, which is not often you get a subtitled film going straight in at the top of the chart.
Yeah, and we know it's not going to be there at number one next week because of two films that are out, and one of them is probably guaranteed to be number one.
I hope it's still going to be in the top 5 though, because it deserves to be. It's a fantastic film. I know you still haven't seen it yet, but
I'm going to watch it this week because I'm going to watch it this week because I don't have very much to watch. When we sort out the lineup of what we have to watch and things like that, I don't have very much to watch this week, so I'll watch it this week.
So that's the top film for the DVD and Blu-ray in the UK this week. So we'll be going for this break in a minute, after which we will go through to our first review of Marley.
Kids, there's nothing more cool than listening to a podcast you like. But if someone podcasts in a place or in a way that you find unfunny, that's no good. So what do? First, you say, lol no. Second, you tell them to GTFO. Third, you get some Holocaust in your luggoles. And most importantly, you have to tell someone. Like your parents, your teacher, or a police officer. We are the Holocaust. 9 o'clock, Wednesday nights, holocaust.co.uk. We don't clash with The Apprentice anymore.
So, shall we crack on with some reviews?
Well, you're reviewing the first film, so why not?
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just sort of breaking us into it. Marley, the documentary about Bob Marley, is directed by Kevin MacDonald. It's what else is there really to say other than it's a documentary chronicling the life of Bob Marley. There's not really much anything more about that to say about it.
So it's not about the dog in Marley and Me?
No,
I was hoping
it's not
it was
about
going to be about that.
It chronicles his life from when he was young and then first started getting into music, and during the troubles that there were at the time, because he grew up in a very rough neighborhood. He had things in it that I didn't know about him. He had a white father. The whole thing of that, there was this surprising, all leading up to the struggles that he had with the industry when he did sort of start making money off of it. He wasn't making a lot of money, and interviews with him where he expresses his opinions about people there's a great clip of an interview in it where someone is talking to him about things like being rich, and he turns around to them and says, how do you define a person being rich? And the person says, do you earn so much million off your money? So he turns around and basically says, that's not being rich, that's just making money. How do you define a person actually being rich? Is being rich in their culture, being rich in their family and what they have in family. It's really great at putting through that opinion of his philosophy on life. Essentially, there's interviews with there's a half sister that survives him that he didn't seem to really know, or anything. She didn't seem to know about him until years later, when she then was told her name Marley, and she found out who her father was, and that then turned out to be Bob Marley's father as well. There's a whole thing leading up to his tragic death, which is, I was really surprised. I did not know that he died as young as he does. He died at the age of 36, which is really a lot younger than I thought. I thought he was into his 40s and 50s before that actually happened. And it's a really good drama, but the thing is that it's a really good documentary, but the problem that I have with it is that I'm not into reggae music at all, which is where I really struggle to engage with it. And I have to hold it up against, because ever since seeing Sinner, any documentary that I've seen has always been held up against that film, because that film was such a amazing piece of work that really showed and got me interested in the driver, Ayrton Senna, who I had no interest in before seeing the documentary, and yet it made such it took such a good hold on me and was such an emotional film. And the problem is with this is that I think it will only really appeal to people who are into music more than I am, and especially into reggae music. For me, reggae music is not one of the things that I really go for. So I don't know if that might be what put me off of this, but I will say that it's really well put together by Kevin MacDonald. He does stay away from having someone doing a voiceover. There isn't a voiceover commentary through the whole thing. There is just all these clips of original footage of Bob Marley. There's a lot of footage of him actually at performances, live places where he's out, or the whole thing of there's a sequence in it which is talking about when he was shot by people who were trying to stop him from having a performance which is trying to sort of help heal the country that he's in Africa, and it's really well put together. But as a result of that, because it is showing a lot of his performances, and it shows him doing a whole song in a lot of them, it runs for 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is quite a long time for a documentary. So if you are into Bob Marley, then you might already know a fair bit of this, but you're going to enjoy it. If you're slightly into music, if you're curious about Bob Marley, then check it out, because you will enjoy it. But if you don't like reggae music, it might be one for you to give a miss, because you're probably not going to engage with it, the same problem that I didn't.
So it's not like you said with Senna, even though people are not Formula One fans, they can still latch on with the film Senna because it's really interesting. You would have more of a problem if you watched Marley if you're not a fan of reggae. Yeah,
I mean, one of the things that I found as well difficult, I had to actually put subtitles on it, because there are parts in it where there's lots of interviews with people who are Jamaican, and they're English speaking, but it's Jamaican accented, and it's very strongly Jamaican accented. That parts of it, I honestly struggled to understand what people were saying, and it's that I think was part of it as well, that they didn't automatically put. There's some interviews in it are fine, you can understand what the people are saying perfectly, and then there's interviews, as I say, where people are speaking really heavy Jamaican accent English. And there's words that they use in there that you don't entirely grasp what it is that they're saying. And there's parts that they could have put the subtitles on automatically for those parts, and it would have just helped to follow it and for it to come across better.
Right, let's get on with the next review, and it's Battleship. It's directed by Peter Berg. Yay, I get a review. Battleship, woohoo. It stars Taylor Kish. The problem with him is he's been in the two biggest flops of the year, this and John Carter.
He's in Savages coming out this week, I think, isn't he, as well, in the cinema?
I haven't a clue. And you know what I thought of the whole debacle when it came to John Carter. It also has Alexander Skarsgård, yeah, I got that right, ironically, Rihanna and Liam Neeson in as well. The opening of the film is he's in a bar with his Taylor Kitsch is in a bar with his brother, played by Alexander Skarsgård. He sees this girl. Oh, I've got a clip. Why don't I let you listen to it?
So I got this guy Tony. He said he can get you a construction job. All you need is call him.
Could I get a beer and a chicken burrito, please?
Sorry. Kitchen closed.
You're not gonna call him, right?
Give Tony my best, but I don't need you or Tony's help for that matter.
Well, you can call him or join me in the Navy.
No. Great. All right. Happy birthday. Blow out your candle and make a wish.
Do not waste a wish on a girl.
Wish for a job, an apartment, a new alternator belt so I don't have to drive you everywhere, a job, or
It's a job twice. It's my birthday. My wish. Right?
Please don't waste it. You just wasted that wish, didn't you?
I'm going in.
You're not going in.
How do I look?
Wait, let me just fix. Awesome. All right, princess, go get him. Great start.
So he gets into trouble after that. He tries to break into a petrol station to try and nick this chicken burrito, and it's done in the style of Cops, where he's gone in through the roof, he falls down, and it's shot via the CCTV. He gets arrested for that, and he's given one last chance. He's told to join the Navy. A couple of years have passed where he's established a relationship with the girl in the bar. It turns out that the girl in the bar is the daughter of the head guy in the Navy, which is played by Liam Neeson. Now, this, I don't know why they came up with the name Rimpak. Rimpak is the name of the operation that they do, and he's late for the opening ceremony of Rimpak. He gets into a fight with an officer on that, and he finds out that he's going to be kicked out of the Navy.
Isn't Rimpak the actual real thing that it's called, the Pacific Exercises of some kind?
I haven't a clue, but Rimpak is such a stupid name to call
It's a Rim of the Pacific. Rim Pacific.
But still, though, they must have looked at it and thought, Rimpak, there is a lot of jokes here. There are a lot of jokes, but we can't mention them anywhere in this show. But yeah, during the operation of Rimpak, they discover that an alien craft has crash-landed in the water. It's created a force field around there, and all hell breaks loose, and the ships that are taking part in this have to obviously try to stop them. That's about as simple as the storyline is, because the film itself is rubbish. I am not allowed to use the G word because I've handed the G word over to Andy this week for the film that we're reviewing after this one. So I'm only allowed to use the word rubbish. It is honestly, it's a stupid movie. The acting is awful. It's really bad. The special effects are pretty, but that's about all you can say that is really good about this movie, because even if you leave your brain at the door of this movie, you still think that you're treated like a dumb person after you've seen it. You think to yourself, what the hell have I watched? Because no wonder it has failed at the box office, because of the fact that people probably are demanding their money back. Is that they're they've got no brain whatsoever, that they can't even spell the word IQ. It honestly, it's that dumb. Nothing about this film, apart from the special effects, is salvageable. This should have just been a wreckage left at the bottom of the sea. It shows how ridiculous this movie is. Not right at the end of the film, but near to the end of the film, to get help, they get these old war veterans to use this old rundown ship that's been decommissioned. They get the help from them to help them to destroy these aliens. Honestly, this film should be avoided, but I know that people are going to go out and buy it because they've seen the shiny aliens and it looks like Transformers, and it's got lots of explosions and it'll entertain people for 2 hours. But honestly, trust me, it won't. The best thing to do is, after you've gotten home with your copy of the Blu-ray or the DVD, throw it out the window, and throw yourself out the window for being stupid enough to buy it.
It is essentially Transformers on the water. Well, actually, when I reviewed it originally, I said Independence Day on the water, which I think still stands. The thing is with that is that, and I'm not saying it's as bad a film as you're saying it's a bad film. I don't think it's a brilliant film, but the thing is that I enjoyed it when I saw it at the cinema on the big screen. I cannot imagine it being anywhere near as much fun and just brain dead fun on a home TV screen. I think it will entirely lose that panache that it does have when it makes the transfer to the small screen.
Yeah, you'll get more fun about smacking yourself in the face with a hammer. That's more fun.
No, that's a bit harsh, is it not?
But I'm just saying that is more fun, but don't do it. You're stupid if you're going to do that.
Okay, I'm going to go on now to Seven Below, which is directed by Kevin Carraway, who also has a hand in writing the film. It stars a group of people, including you have in there Val Kilmer, and you have in there Luke Goss, who is a member of Bros. So you're already getting an idea of where this is going. And also stars in there Ving Rhames. Group of people in the van that they're travelling along at. They're driving along, and all of a sudden something happens where a girl standing by the middle of the road sort of appears out of nowhere, causes the van to drive off the road and crash, and including injuring everyone, the driver is killed. Several of the people then start to freak out. There's a big storm coming. A man played by Ving Rhames turns up, who plays Jack, turns up and tells them all, there's a big storm coming, we should better get inside somewhere, takes them all in his truck to his house. Once they get there, things go from bad to worse when they all sort of start sitting there waiting out the storm. Val Kilmer's character, who suffers a concussion in the accident, starts freaking out, saying he hears noises and sees things, and when he's lying in bed has this terrible feeling that they're all in danger. We don't have a clip for this, but because really, to be honest, I want to spend as little time on it as possible. As Stuart set up, he's given me the word this week. This film is garbage. It's just awful. It's horrible. It's supposed to be a horror and thriller. It's not particularly frightening. I don't even like horror films, but I saw this and I was just like, ugh, snore, bore, anything that rhymes with or. It's just, or something, or this instead. It's really, the characters in it are just painfully boring. The acting is painfully terrible. You have in there sequences where people are walking around and there's sound effects and flashing lights from lightning and there's wind and all, and the characters are talking and they're saying, I have no idea what, because of the fact of the sound mix is terrible. I don't know who made this film. The sounding, I'm not going to have a look because I can't be bothered, but the person who mixed the sound in it has done the worst job in the world. They must be deaf, because there's sequences where people are outside in the forest and you cannot make out what they're saying. There's scenes where they're in a room and it's nice and quiet and you should be able to make out what they're saying, but the music is being played too loud, so of course you can't hear what they're saying. This sounding a bit familiar? It's just awful. There's this whole thing where the film then turned into this sort of supernatural thing is entered in and twisted in, and it goes right up to the end of the film, and by the end of the film you just don't give a damn. You just don't care. It's rubbish, it's crap, it's garbage.
Right, I think Andy needs to calm down for a couple of minutes, so I better get on reviewing Lockout.
Oh, I can go on more if you want. I'm just going to stop using garbage.
Shut up. I'll mute your mic. It's directed by James Mather and Stephen St. Ledger. It's based around a Luc Besson story. Probably guess where this is coming from then, but hold your horses just a moment. It stars Guy Pearce, who plays Snow. At the start of the film, he's wrongly convicted for conspiracy to commit espionage. It's set in Washington DC in 2097. He supposedly killed somebody, and he's getting beaten up, interrogated to ask why he's actually done that, why this is happening. The president's daughter, played by Maggie Grace, she's gone up to this prison which the US own. It's called MS-1. It's a huge, massive ship that's above the earth, and it holds the most notorious prisoners in sort of like in the world itself. Even though during the movie there is one prisoner who you hear about and you're thinking, how the hell did he get put in there with these kind of criminals? You don't fully find out what these criminals have done, but it's supposed to be the biggest maximum security prison. It's supposed to hold over 500,000 people, but there's only like 500 people in this prison. Well, she's gone to visit it because she thinks that they're getting mistreated with their being put in stasis. So obviously it's not like a standard prison where they get to walk around. They're in these stasis pods where they're kept in stasis, and it can mess with their mind. It can obviously debilitate them. When they come out of it, they'll have either got Alzheimer's or something even worse than that. They can't even remember anything. During, you can probably guess what happens to her on the prison. A riot breaks out because one of the stupid guards who's looking after her decides to take a gun into an interrogation room. A prisoner who she's talking to takes the gun, gets the gun off him, shoots him, and releases all the prisoners on there. So the prisoners have taken hold of MS-1. The daughter is sort of like being kidnapped, even though the prisoners don't know at the start that the daughter is the president's daughter. And Snow is sent up to MS-1 to go and find the president's daughter. Here's a clip.
Now get some air in there.
What, mouth to mouth?
Mouth to mouth.
Here we go.
Hey, whoa.
It's okay. It's okay.
What the hell are you doing?
I am bringing you back from the dead.
I was dead.
Yeah, and so far, I think I prefer you that way. Come on, that's enough foreplay. We're gonna get out of here.
So that's a quick clip. Just in a way, it actually shows you what kind of character Snow's like, because during the entirety of the film, he's obscenely sarcastic, and so the rest of the film is just him trying to get the president's daughter off the ship itself. Now, the film itself is not too bad. It's just that Snow is sarcastic from the start of the movie. That includes this chase scene, which is really, really badly done. The CGI on it is so horrible. There is also really bad CGI in a sequence that is near to the end of the film itself. I'll not tell you what the sequence is, but the CGI there is really dodgy, and the CGI overall in the film is not very good itself. But Snow is an obscenely sarcastic character during the movie. I just wanted to tell him, can you not see a couple of sentences where you're just speaking normal? Why do you have to be sarcastic from the start to the finish? Some people might like that, but it grates after time when he's constantly being sarcastic. The movie itself is not too bad. It's your typical science fiction action movie. There's a few decent set pieces in it. There's a bit of gore here and there. Again, the gore is CGI. There's this really handy little explosion device that he's given. If the two ends meet together, it explodes, and he puts it on one of the inmates' necks, and it blows off his head, which I actually found quite nice. But yeah, there's a few scenes that are in the film that is pretty decent. It's just a pretty decent film.
So you liked it?
No, I just thought it was quite average. It's a 6. It would have been a 5, but I'll be slightly more generous. It's a 6.
I mean, the thing with me, I just want to chime in here that I like the character of Snow. I like how cheeky he is, and it's the thing of that I would love to see more films taken off. You know, like a series following his character. I would love to see that happen. I doubt it was it because the film, although the film didn't do massively well at the box office, I don't think it lost money because it's a small French production that's been financed by Luc Besson and whoever else is involved with him. So, I mean, that's possible we might see that, but unlikely, I think, because it didn't do as big as they were hoping.
As long as he's not sarcastic from minute 1 to minute 90, all the way through. As long as he... No, I understand the fact that people like the fact that he's sarcastic, but come on, can you not speak normal for a minute or so? I love sarcasm. I'm sarcastic myself most of the time, but at least I can construct a sentence without some sarcasm in it.
All right, I'll move on then to The Monk, or Le Moyne, as it is a French film. We're discussing Frenchish now. It's a film that stars Vincent Cassel as a monk in a monastery who he grew up in the monastery because, as was shown at the beginning of the film, he's left there on the doorsteps as a baby. He then grows up and is sort of going through. He's taken as being one of the best monks. He's extremely devout. He's very good at being a monk and everything, knowing everything, and he's seen as one of the best that there have ever been. But then he starts to have problems where he begins to actually find himself sort of being attracted to sin and being attracted to a woman there played by Deborah Francois. I can never pronounce French names properly. And this whole question over him then, whether or not he is pure or whether or not he's being essentially tempted by the devil. Now, the thing is with it, it's a French drama. It is very well performed by Cassel. He is a really great French actor. The problem is that the film, for me, it was a chore to get through. It was just so mind-numbingly boring at parts. It's visually really well directed and well shot. It looks like a painting in a lot of sequences. There's parts where it's outside during the day and it's like looking out at a sort of a desert wasteland outside of this monastery. And then there's sequences inside it which are set inside you have the stone and the buildings and the way it's done, and they're very dark and they look really impressive and well shot. But it's just like for me, the only thing I can describe it as being like a Lars von Trier film. It really was that, well, mind-numbingly just bad
style
as
over
a film.
Substance.
Yeah, and the thing is that it looks really good, but I just couldn't get into it. Didn't care for the character. I didn't really follow the character that well. I don't know if it's because it is in French or just the way it was done, but I normally will find it not hard to follow a film that's in subtitles. In this film, I really struggled to follow it, and I think it's probably a narrative problem. It's apparently based on a novel, so I have no idea what the novel's like, if it's faithful to it or not. But it doesn't work for the film. Whatever they're trying to do and bring out in it is this whole thing that, especially leading up to the end, which there is a sort of a twist which I don't want to give away, but it's it's kind of like you're hit in the face with it. What's going on? And then you go, oh well, there's that, and it's sort of like there should be a twist that really knocks you for six, and it's not. It's a twist that you go, oh well, that happened, and it's just that's the kind of emotional state you're in by the end of the film. You're just like, and it's not even a long film. It is only an hour and 40 minutes, so it's not going anywhere near the 2 hour mark. If it had gone by the 2 hour mark, I probably would have been in a coma. It's like I said, if you don't like Lars von Trier's films, then you won't like this. If you like Lars von Trier's films, you might like this. But I doubt it, because for me, I almost fell asleep.
Right, final film of the night is 388 Arletta Avenue. It's directed by Randall Cole. It's got a really simple storyline. It stars Nick Stahl and Mia Kirshner. I got it right third time. They play a couple. They're being stalked by somebody. At the start of the film, there is somebody sitting out in a car, and over a few days, he's videotaping them. He's recording them. During the time, he sneaks into the house and manages to plant cameras in loads of nooks and crannies in the house. Around about the fifth day, Stahl's wife, who's played by Kirshner, she goes missing, and it's just him trying to hunt down his wife. He suspects that it could be an old friend who he bullied as a kid, who's played by Devon Sawa, who was in The Faculty, and he was also in a film called Idle Hands.
He's been most recently in the TV series Nikita.
Yeah, he was in Idle Hands, which I actually quite like. I thought that film was quite funny.
I did too. Actually.
I might actually use that one week as a DVD alternative, but that's on another tangent. And so he was a friend who he bullied at school, and he suspects that it could be him who could be doing it, and maybe it is. Strange other things happen in the house, like music's always coming on, and he finds his cats being decapitated and stuffed into a letterbox, and all the while this person is following him. The way the movie is shot is, apart from one chase sequence in the movie where Stahl is chasing after the person who's doing it, and the camera's moving, the camera never moves. It's shot from a stagnant point of view in every area in the house. So where the camera is hidden, that's where it's shot from. And when the character moves into another room, for example, in the kitchen, when he moves into, say, his study, it takes it from the point of view of where the camera is in the study. So there's never a camera that follows the character directly. The camera is always in a stationary position. Now, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, that film, because it affects the flow of the movie. There is one scene in the film where it does work, where he is the person who's been stalking him upstairs, and the camera is pointing to him, and you only see the point of view from the television screen. Now, I like that because that's an intelligent way of putting the camera. But the rest of the film, it doesn't work because, like you said, it affects the flow of the movie. The film itself is supposed to be a thriller. It's not. It honestly, there is nothing about this film that's interesting at all. The acting is not very good. None of the characters are really well done. None of the set pieces are quite well done. There is no thrilling elements at all. You're not sitting on the edge of your seat. As a matter of fact, you'll be practically bored. The only plus point of this movie, apart from the camera scene, is Andy reviewed a film last week where he supposedly gave away the ending, where he said that you never find out who the killer is. That was in Gone. It's the same with this. You never find out who the killer is. If you think it's this person, then it's not. You never see the person's face. You think at the end of the film you're going to see it in a scene, but you never find out who this killer is. And I like that, because then it added a mysterious element to it. But apart from that, the rest of the film is just forgettable.
Okay, I'll go on to my DVD alternate for this week, which is Pump Up the Volume, which is a film from 1990, so it's 22 years old. It stars Christian Slater as a teenager who is he's at home, he's bored, he's been moved with his parents to a new suburb. He's no friends there or anything, so during his time in the evening, he sort of decides he's got the equipment there to do it, and he decides he's going to be a pirate radio station, which he becomes then known as a sort of a celebrity amongst the kids as Hard Harry, and his topics of discussion are rather risque, shall we say, the kind of thing that you wouldn't actually be allowed to say on the air, on live radio. And he sort of makes a connection with the kids that are listening to, and essentially starts sort of sparking the innards of a rebellion at the local school. It's a really good drama.
Can I just interrupt a second? Is he a bit like Howard Stern? Because Howard Stern
Yes.
pushed the boundaries of being a radio host in America. And if you've seen the film Private Parts, which again I might use as a DVD alternative because I really, really like that film, Howard Stern is a real big shock jock. So is he like that? Because I've never seen Pump Up the Volume. I've never heard of it.
There is that aspect to it, yes. But it's more that it's about teenage issues and teenagers, and eventually he starts getting people actually calling into him. One of the things that happens when he actually starts doing this is he gets one of the kids who phones in and is a potential suicide issue, that then things go wrong. And it's all sort of the thing of how it all comes to a head with those problems. It's a really good film that looks back at the issues of being a teenager and teenage rebellion, and the whole thing of sort of bucking the system and fighting the system for what is their right. And it's a really good drama. It's one of the early dramas that I saw when I was younger that actually stood out as being, wow, this is a really good film, and not just all big action film or all big comedy. It's a really good drama that sort of speaks to the teenage generation, but I think anyone who's listening to it in our ages, in 30s and maybe even in 40s, if they haven't seen it, may still find it relevant to the problems of the world today. Okay, so that's it. That's our show for this week. Thank you for listening if you have been listening live. If you haven't and you've been on the catch-up, you can also find us on places like iTunes, which we invite you to then go and leave us a review and a rating. If you're interested, you can check out our website, mondaymovieshow.co.uk. You can find us on Twitter. I'm on there at AHDVD. Stuart's on there at Cryptic Tadpole. And there's also at Monday Movie Show. We're also on Facebook and YouTube. And we do invite you as well to check out one of the groups that we're now a member of is the Podgods, which is podgodsnetwork.com. And a good friend of ours, their site, which is Following the Nerd. So that's followingthenerd.com. Until next Monday at 7:30, where if you do want to join us live next Monday, check out our site on Spreaker.com, and we'll be there from 7:30 in the UK next Monday night. Until then, bye-bye.
He got it right for a change.